Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
As the third-grade pill fire burned up, Duan Lingtian stared at the medicine cauldron in front of him with incomparable concentration. Today's medicine cauldron is already a third-grade spiritual weapon that can resist the invasion of third-grade pill fire. Even if third-grade pill fire is integrated into it, it will not melt or destroy it. Wow. Duan Lingtian casually raised his hand, skillfully grabbed several herbs, and stuffed them into the medicine cauldron. Immediately afterwards, the Dan fire ignited and Duan Lingtian's hand suddenly rushed out and slammed into it. Officially start refining the elixir. The first few medicinal herbs that Duan Lingtian threw in were all difficult to be dissolved by the alchemy fire, so they had to be placed in the medicine cauldron first to be melted to a certain degree by the alchemy fire. Half an hour later, Duan Lingtian threw some more herbs into the medicine cauldron. For a moment, only the immortal root, the phoenix feather grass, and the blood of red luan that Duan Lingtian had not yet taken out of the ring were left. However, Duan Lingtian was not in a hurry. He used the fire from the cauldron to melt the medicinal materials inside. Another hour passed. Call. Duan Lingtian exhaled a breath of foul air, picked up the immortality root with some excitement, opened the lid of the medicine cauldron with his other hand, and immediately threw the immortality root in. Wow. As soon as the immortal root was put in, a flame of indescribable color rose from the medicine cauldron, and the flame emitted an extremely rich medicinal smell. Boom. Immediately afterwards, the lid of the medicine cauldron fell, covering the cauldron tightly. However, Duan Lingtian's movements did not stop. He continued to emit third-grade elixir fire from the palms of his hands, merging it into the medicine cauldron, as if he would never get tired. A quarter of an hour later, Duan Lingtian opened the medicine cauldron again. This time, he put the phoenix feather grass in it. After putting the phoenix feather grass in, refine it for another half an hour, and the nirvana pill will take shape. However, if you want the nirvana pill to be fully formed, you must refine it the moment it comes out of the furnace. Integrate into the blood of red Luanda. This part came from the memory of the Samsara Martial Emperor, and Duan Lingtian remembered it clearly. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. After a moment, the only sound in the room was the sound of Duan Lingtian pressing the third-grade pill fire into the medicine cauldron. Half an hour passed quickly. It's done. Duan Lingtian's eyes suddenly lit up, and he retracted his right hand, and the third-grade pill fire was extinguished. Almost at this instant, Duan Lingtian's right hand landed on the medicine cauldron. The next moment, a pop sound was heard. Whoosh. A crimson lightning bolt instantly shot out from the pill outlet on the side of the medicine cauldron, with a wisp of crimson flame wrapped around it. Nirvana pill. Duan Lingtian had sharp eyes and recognized at a glance that what shot out from the medicine cauldron was a pill wrapped in red flames. That is the Nirvana pill in the memory of the reincarnation emperor. Soon, Duan Lingtian suppressed the turbulent emotions in his heart and stared intently at the Nirvana pill. He knew that at this time, he couldn't be careless at all. Otherwise, it will affect the final development of Nirvana pill. After the Nirvana pill leaves the medicine cauldron, its surface will be covered with a layer of crimson flames. Duan Lingtian had already learned this from the memories of the Samsara Martial Emperor, so he was not surprised. Besides, he knew. In order to make the Nirvana pill have the strongest medicinal power, it is necessary to drip the red Luan blood on it in time at the moment when the flame on the surface of the Nirvana pill merges into the pill body. Only by allowing the Nirvana pill to absorb the blood of red Luan in time can it exert its maximum medicinal power. Without the red Luan blood, this Nirvana pill is useless. Only the red Luan blood can unlock the incomparably powerful medicinal properties within the Nirvana pill. Duan Lingtian was fully aware of this. And now Duan Lingtian stared at the Nirvana pill intently, not daring to be distracted for a moment. The flame on the surface of the nirvana pill is constantly being absorbed into the body of the nirvana pill. Soon, only a tiny bit remained. Now, Duan Lingtian's heart trembled, and he suddenly raised his hand, and a drop of fiery red liquid instantly appeared in his hand. It is the blood of Hongwan. It is also the main ingredient needed to refine nirvana pills. Call out. Duan Lingtian raised his hand, and the red Luan blood transformed into a red lightning bolt, swiftly shooting towards the location of the nirvana pill. And at the moment when Hongwan's blood hit the nirvana pill, the flame on the surface of the nirvana pill was just absorbed into the pill body. At this time, just like water and milk, the Hongwan blood was perfectly integrated into the nirvana pill. In an instant, Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed. From the center of the nirvana pill, a dazzling crimson light burst out, like a small scorching sun, shining so brightly that Duan Lingtian couldn't help but squint his eyes. Soon, the scorching sun gradually receded, and a fiery red pill that looked nothing special appeared before Duan Lingtian's eyes. Nirvana pill. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath and raised his hand, firmly grasping the pill in his hand, as if he was afraid that it would slip away. The pill felt warm to the touch, and there was a strong medicinal fragrance wafting around. The aroma of the medicine makes people feel relaxed and happy. Nirvana pill finally succeeded in refining it. Duan Lingtian was filled with excitement. He casually raised his hand and put the medicine cauldron into his storage ring. Then, Duan Lingtian flew onto the bed and sat down cross-legged. At the same time, he raised his hand and stuffed the nirvana pill into his mouth. The nirvana pill melted in his mouth, transforming into a mighty warm current that continuously flowed down Duan Lingtian's throat and merged into every part of his body. Although the medicinal power of nirvana pill is divided into thousands of parts, each one is extremely powerful and shocks people from the bottom of their hearts. Practice. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath, took out the fragment of wind state of mind, held it in his hand, closed his eyes, and began to practice. 9 Dragons Fighting Art, Earth Dragon Transformation. As Duan Lingtian practiced his cultivation method, the Yuanli in his body began to rhythmically move, and at the same time, it attracted the medicinal power of the nirvana pill and flowed along his meridians. At this moment, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel the growth and transformation of his Yuanli. Duan Lingtian didn't know how much time had passed while he was practicing, but it didn't seem that long to him. Soon, his cultivation successfully broke through to the 7th level of the Void Realm. Originally, Duan Lingtian had just broken through to the 6th level of the Void Realm not long ago, and was still a long way from the 7th level of the Void Realm. If he were to use the medium-grade Yuan stone to assist in his cultivation, it would take at least half a year before he could be sure of a breakthrough. But now, it seems that the breakthrough was successful in no time. After breaking through to the 7th stage of the Void Realm, the speed of the Yuanli rhythm in Duan Lingtian's body became faster and faster, and even the speed at which the medicinal power of the nirvana pill was consumed became faster and faster. Not long after reaching the 7th level of the Void Realm, Duan Lingtian broke through to the 8th level of the Void Realm. Next, it is the 9th level of entering the Void Realm. After breaking through to the 9th level of the Void Realm, Duan Lingtian's Yuanli continued to increase rapidly, reaching a certain critical point before it stopped and slowed down. At this moment, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel the might and growth of the Yuanli in his body. 9th level of the Void Realm. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in them, like the bright stars in the night sky. My current strength. Duan Lingtian clenched his fists slightly, and Yuanli emanated from his fists. Wow! In an instant, the power of heaven and earth surged in the void above Duan Lingtian's head, and shadowy images of ancient horned dragons gradually condensed into shape. Finally, a total of 12 ancient horned dragon phantoms gathered together. Without the need for spiritual weapons or artistic conception, he possesses the power of 12 ancient horned dragons. It is the sign of entering the 9th level of the Void Realm. The power of the Nirvana pill is truly overwhelming. If it weren't for the limitations of my artistic realm, I might have even been able to break through directly to the Void Realm this time. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sigh. What a pity. Right now, I'm only at the 7th level of Wind Realm. Not to mention the first intermediate level of Wind Realm. I'm still a long way from even the 9th low level of Wind Realm. If you want to break through to the Dongshu realm, it is no longer possible to achieve it by simply having enough Yuanli. In addition, one must comprehend the first intermediate level of artistic conception, just like Duan Lingtian now. Unless he could comprehend the first intermediate level of Wind state of mind, even with the help of the Nirvana pill, he would not be able to break through to the Void Realm. No matter what, with my current cultivation, even without the soul skill Thousand Illusions, or the first-grade spiritual weapon and quasi-imperial grade spiritual weapon, it's enough to advance in the Dynasty Martial competition. Soon, Duan Lingtian felt relieved again. I don't know what time it is now. The Dynasty Martial Arts competition should be starting soon, right? Duan Lingtian thought secretly. At the same time, he got out of bed and left the room. After leaving the room, he walked outside and soon met a guard from the Blackstone mansion. Big brother, what time is it now? When does the Dynasty Martial Arts competition start? Although the guards did not recognize Duan Lingtian, since Duan Lingtian was in Blackstone mansion, he was undoubtedly one of the 10 young talents from the Blackstone Empire who came to participate in the Dynasty Martial competition this time. Therefore, he did not dare to neglect it. The Dynasty Martial Arts competition will begin in 10 days. 10 days later? Duan Lingtian raised his eyebrows, a hint of surprise flashing in his eyes. I didn't expect that I only cultivated for 20 days. In other words, it only took me 20 days to go from the 6th level of the Void Realm to the 9th level of the Void Realm. Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel a little proud when he thought of this. 20 days, spanning 3 levels. Who can do it? However, the medicinal power of the Nirvana pill is really strong. The medicinal power of the Nirvana pill I have consumed so far is not even a drop in the bucket of its total medicinal power. The more Duan Lingtian thought about it, the more excited he became. If I can completely consume the power of the Nirvana pill, breaking through to the Martial Emperor realm shouldn't be a problem. Even breaking through to the Martial Emperor realm isn't impossible. Martial Emperor realm. With the help of the Nirvana pill, I might be able to break through to the Martial Emperor realm even earlier than in my second life as the reincarnation Martial Emperor. Duan Lingtian was excited and thought to himself, Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian had just taken a few steps when he heard an elderly voice calling him. Soon, Duan Lingtian saw an old man walking towards him from a distance. He was no stranger to this old man. He was one of the 2 old men who usually followed behind Prince Yao. Senior. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly at the old man. Although his current cultivation level is no weaker than the old man, with his soul skill 1000 Illusions, he can kill the old man easily. But Duan Lingtian did not feel that he was any different from before. He is still the same Duan Lingtian as before. Don't put on airs in front of people you knew in the past just because of your strength. The old man smiled back and said, Duan Lingtian, some time ago someone from the Feng family contacted you and asked you to join them. However, you were cultivating at the time. Feng family. Duan Lingtian raised his eyebrows, his mind stirring. Could it be that City Lord Feng and Tianwu have returned? Have they sent someone to invite me over? He didn't know many people in the Feng family. Apart from Feng Wudao and Feng Tianwu, he couldn't think of anyone else. Thank you for the message, Senior. Duan Lingtian thanked the old man and immediately headed out of the Blackstone mansion, preparing to visit the Feng family. Looking at Duan Lingtian's receding back, the old man had a complicated look in his eyes. I never thought that Duan Lingtian not only possesses astonishing talent, but also has such extraordinary acquaintances. The person who came looking for him a few days ago seems to be just a retainer of the Feng family. The old man was secretly shocked. He was almost certain that the person who could drive the Feng family to look for Duan Lingtian in the future must be someone of extraordinary status in the Feng family. It's a pity. He's still too young. In this dynasty martial competition, let alone him, even Mo Xian would find it extremely difficult to advance and qualify for the 10 dynasties martial competition. Thinking of this, the old man shook his head. Obviously, he did not think that Duan Lingtian could stand out in the dynasty martial competition and qualify to participate in the 10 dynasties martial competition. Duan Lingtian couldn't help but frown as he walked out of the Blackstone mansion. Simply because, relying on the sharp intuition cultivated from his previous life as a mercenary, he sensed the extremely cold gaze staring at him from the darkness. His eyes fell on him, filled with murderous intent. It seems that the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch still hasn't given up. A sneer appeared on Duan Lingtian's lips, and he guessed the identity of the visitor. The person who came must have been sent by the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch. Duan Lingtian could confirm this. After all, he had not offended anyone since he came to the capital of the Han dynasty. The only people he had conflicts with were the wife of the patriarch of the Zhang family and the second young master. Second level of the Void Realm? Now, Duan Lingtian's mental strength has also been greatly improved along with the rapid improvement of his cultivation. Now, Duan Lingtian's cultivation has broken through to the 9th level of the Void Realm. And his mental strength was also pushed to this second level of the Void Realm. With his current mental strength, the cultivation level of that Void Realm warrior would be exposed in front of Duan Lingtian. Since he can't sense my spiritual power, then he shouldn't be an inscription master. Duan Lingtian sneered and walked out. When Duan Lingtian walked out, he could see that the Cave Void Realm second stage warrior followed closely behind him. Duan Lingtian had just turned a corner and hadn't had time to walk into the secluded alley ahead. Whoosh! The warrior in the Void Realm made a move. His movements were so fast, as swift as wind and thunder, making it impossible to defend against him. As a warrior at the Void Realm level, he didn't have too many concerns. Duan Lingtian attacked as soon as he left the road in front of the Blackstone mansion. Snort! Almost at the moment when the Void Realm warrior attacked, Duan Lingtian's extended mental power reacted, and he couldn't help but snort coldly. 1,000 illusions. Almost instantly, Duan Lingtian's eyes flickered, and he used his mental power to directly integrate into this soul brand deep within his soul, unleashing his exclusive soul skill. In an instant, an illusionary space was constructed by him, covering an area not far behind him. And that warrior in the Cave Void Realm came from that side. In a moment, the warrior in the Cave Void Realm entered the illusionary space. His whole body was affected. He stopped and rushed to the other side, attacking as fast as the wind. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. As a warrior in the Void Realm, the man moved extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, he set off a series of piercing whistling sounds in the wind. At the same time, the airflow rhythmically stirring up gusts of wind that blew towards Duan Lingtian, who was standing not far away, causing Duan Lingtian's robe to flutter and rustle. Snort! Duan Lingtian's eyes turned slightly cold as he walked towards the Cave Void Realm warrior, ready to kill him. Although, the strength of this Dongshu Realm warrior is far superior to his. But now the other party was trapped in his illusion space and was completely unprepared. It would be easy for him to kill him. However, soon, Duan Lingtian stopped, because he found that someone else had come. Whoosh! A figure, even faster than the Cave Void Realm warrior trapped in Duan Lingtian's illusionary space, flew over and arrived near Duan Lingtian in the blink of an eye. Duan Lingtian was no stranger to this figure. Prince Yong. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up as he recognized the person. Prince Yong nodded to Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Prince Yong's face looked extremely ugly, and the cinnabar mole between his eyebrows became even darker, as if declaring his inner anger. I noticed him earlier. I didn't expect that he would come here just for you. King Yong spoke in a deep voice and stepped out. Wow. As King Yong raised his hand, the palm print whistled and instantly landed on the chest of the Cave Void Realm warrior, killing him directly. At this moment, King Yong didn't even notice that something was wrong with the other party. The 4th level of the Void Realm. At this time, Duan Lingtian's mental power also truly detected the cultivation level of King Yong. If Prince Yong took action, not to mention that this Cave Void Realm's 2nd stage warrior was trapped in the illusionary space created by Duan Lingtian's soul skill, 1000 illusions. Even if there was no illusionary space created by Duan Lingtian, he would definitely die. Duan Lingtian, who have you offended? There's actually a Cavern Void Realm warrior who wants to deal with you. Prince Yong looked at Duan Lingtian and frowned. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly, then did not hide anything and told him about the conflict between him and the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch. Zhang family. Upon hearing this, Prince Yong's face showed a hint of fear. The Zhang family is no ordinary family. Moreover, I heard that the wife that the Zhang family patriarch later married also had an extremely extraordinary background. Duan Lingtian nodded. This was not surprising to him. The last time he brought the 3 corpses to the Zhang family, he heard that the 3 people were the dowry given to the wife of the Zhang family patriarch when she married into the Zhang family. It is obvious that the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch also has a powerful force behind her. Where are you going? King Yong asked. Feng family. Duan Lingtian said with a smile. Feng family. Prince Yong was startled, then continued. I heard that someone from the Feng family came to see you a few days ago. Do you know anyone from the Feng family? Duan Lingtian nodded. You've offended the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch, and you're in extremely dangerous situations. Well, I'll take you there. Prince Yong said to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was stunned when he heard what Prince Yong said, but then he quickly thanked him. Thank you, Prince Yong. No need to thank me. If that little witch knew what happened to you, wouldn't she use me as a scapegoat? Prince Yong shook his head and smiled, but as he spoke, there was a hint of bitterness on the corners of his mouth. Duan Lingtian naturally knew who the little witch King Yong was talking about, and couldn't help but smile awkwardly. Even Prince Yong, who was at the 4th level of the Void Realm, was wary of Xuanai. He really didn't know what to say. Immediately afterwards, Duan Lingtian and Prince Yong walked side by side towards the Feng family. Young Master Lingtian. As soon as the 2 of them arrived at the gate of the Feng family, a Feng family guard took 2 steps forward and bowed to Duan Lingtian. It's you. Duan Lingtian recognized him. When he first came to the Feng family, this Feng family general was also among them. Master Lingtian, the master said, as long as you come, you will be invited in directly. The Feng family's retainer said respectfully. Duan Lingtian nodded, then looked at Prince Yong and said with a smile, Prince Yong, please come in with me. It's just right. I can introduce you to the master of the Feng family. As soon as the Feng family general finished speaking, Prince Yong was stunned. The master of the Feng family? Although he is just a prince of the Blackstone Empire, he is also the strongest man in the Blackstone Empire and likes to venture into the Han Dynasty. Because only in the Han Dynasty could he find his own passion. In the Han Dynasty, there were many powerful independent cultivators in the Void Realm who could compete with him. And the reason why he had such a high level of cultivation was precisely because he had been constantly competing with the powerful cultivators in the Void Realm of the Han Dynasty for many years. Otherwise, with his talent, it would be difficult for him to break through to the 4th level of the Void Realm. Having spent a long time in the Han Dynasty, he naturally knew a lot about some things about the Han Dynasty. Among them, he had long been well known as the uncle of the Feng family. It was said that the eldest man of the Feng family was the strongest young man in the Han Dynasty decades ago. Later, his cultivation level even caught up with the two great ancestors of the Feng family. At that time, the uncle of the Feng family was not even half the age of the two ancestors of the Feng family. In his opinion, now, the cultivation level of the uncle of the Feng family may even have surpassed those two ancestors. It can even be compared with that of the royal family of the Han Dynasty. Good. Prince Yong did not refuse Duan Lingtian's invitation and followed Duan Lingtian into the Feng family mansion. Led by the Feng family guards, he shuttled through the Feng family mansion. Duan Lingtian, how do you know the master of the Feng family? On the way, King Yong couldn't help but ask curiously. You know, the uncle of the Feng family is almost the same age as Prince Yong. But for King Yong, it was still an unreachable existence. The Feng family is a powerful family in the Han Dynasty, second only to the royal family. There are many powerful people in it, and there are nearly 10 people above the 7th level of the Cave Void Realm. Among them, there are two great ancestors who are said to be above the 8th level of the Void Realm. It is said that the eldest uncle of the Feng family, Feng Wudao, was already as capable as the two ancestors of the Feng family a few years ago. The most important thing is that he is still young and his cultivation can continue to improve. I met him by chance. Duan Lingtian smiled, but did not elaborate. What does he say about this? Could it be that Feng Wudao, because of an extremely absurd prophecy, took his daughter to a city in the south of the Blackstone Empire, became the mayor of that city, and then helped his daughter set up an arena for a martial arts competition to win a husband? Prince Yong nodded. He was a smart man. He saw that Duan Lingtian didn't want to talk more, so he didn't ask any more questions. However, when he thought about meeting the rumored big shot soon, Prince Yong couldn't help but breathe a little faster. Prince Yong, the strongest man in the Blackrock Empire, has been a powerful figure for half his life. When had he ever lost his composure like this before? After a while, Duan Lingtian and Prince Yong, led by the Feng family's retainers, arrived in front of a mansion within a mansion. You go back, I'll be fine. Just as the Feng family general was about to knock on the door, Duan Lingtian spoke. Master Lingtian, I will take my leave now. The Feng family guard nodded respectfully to Duan Lingtian and then retreated. Prince Yong was completely ignored by him. Of course, King Yong had no complaints. Not to mention that the other party does not know his identity. Even if the other party knew his identity, they would definitely not be afraid of him. Although the other party was just a family general, he was a family general of the Feng family. Even if it was him, he might be able to assassinate a Feng family general, but if he was asked to kill a Feng family general openly in front of the Feng family members, he would never dare to do it. The dignity of the Feng family is not something that a prince of a small empire like him can desecrate. Boom, boom. Duan Lingtian took 2 steps forward and knocked on the door of the mansion in front of him. Not long after, Duan Lingtian heard hurried footsteps coming from inside. Immediately following, crunch. The door opened, and an old, withered figure stepped out and appeared before Duan Lingtian. Mrs. Su. Duan Lingtian smiled and nodded to the old woman who opened the door. Young Master Lingtian. Seeing Duan Lingtian, Grandma Su forced a smile on her face that was uglier than crying. Then, Grandma Su's gaze fell on Prince Yong standing behind Duan Lingtian. Who is this? This is Prince Yong, the Prince of the Blackstone Empire, and the one who brought me to the capital of the Han Dynasty to participate in the Dynasty Martial Competition. Duan Lingtian introduced Su Po with a smile. Prince Yong. Su Po's gaze fell on Prince Yong, and she nodded calmly. I've heard of you, the strongest man in the Blackstone Empire. I don't deserve it. Prince Yong quickly said modestly. Master Lingtian, please. Soon, Grandma Su invited Duan Lingtian into the mansion. As for King Yong, she ignored him. And King Yong was not surprised. Since this old woman lives in the residence of the master of the Feng family, I think her status in the Feng family is not simple. Even if her strength is not as good as his, she is not someone he can provoke. Soon, Grandma Su welcomed Duan Lingtian and Prince Yong into the main hall of this mansion within a mansion. The hall was empty. Master Lingtian, I'll go and ask the master to come over. Grandma Su said hello to Duan Lingtian, then turned around and walked out. Not long after Supa left, Duan Lingtian heard a burst of hurried footsteps. Upon hearing this, Prince Yong's face became serious. Only Duan Lingtian looked outside the hall with a smile on his face. Soon, an elderly figure appeared before Duan Lingtian and Prince Yong, causing Prince Yong to be startled. Isn't that the master from the Feng family? Mr. Kong. Duan Lingtian smiled brightly when he saw the old man. The person who now appeared before him and Prince Yong was not someone else, but the old man Kong, whom he had met in Fengqi City in the past. Master Kong has a good cultivation level and is also an inscription master. Throughout the Han Dynasty, his inscription skills were second to none. In the Han Dynasty, when it comes to inscriptions, he is second to none, and no one dares to claim to be the first. Haha, Brother Duan, we meet again. Seeing Duan Lingtian again, Kong Lao laughed heartily, his eyes full of nostalgia. In his eyes, Duan Lingtian was more than just a young man. Even he admired this young man's achievements in the art of inscription. Moreover, he learned a lot from this young man. It was precisely because of the young man's initial guidance that his achievements in inscriptions were able to improve in a short period of time. Yes, we meet again. Duan Lingtian nodded. Mr. Kong. Prince Yong, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, was stunned again when he heard Duan Lingtian address the old man. Empty old. Naturally, he was no stranger to this name. In the Han Dynasty, there were many outstanding inscriptionists who could engrave all kinds of magical inscriptions. Among these engraving masters, one of them is the most outstanding. That person was an elder of the Feng family, known as Kong Lao. It is said that in the Han Dynasty, the attainments of Kong Lao of the Feng family in the art of inscription were unmatched. Only a few inscription masters in a few dynasties were qualified to be on par with Kong Lao. In the Han Dynasty, Kong Lao's reputation was no less than that of Feng family's patriarch, Feng Wudao. Brother Duan, who is this? At this time, Kong Lao also discovered King Yong. This is Prince Yong. Duan Lingtian also introduced Prince Yong to Master Kong. Prince Yong, I've heard of you. You're the strongest man in the Blackstone Empire, and you have quite a bit of cultivation. Old Kong looked Prince Yong up and down and nodded lightly. Mr. Kong. Although Master Kong only greeted Prince Yong lightly, Prince Yong did not dare to be rude and hurriedly saluted respectfully. Not to mention the old man's achievements in the art of inscription, even the old man's cultivation was beyond his reach. Old Kong also ignored Prince Yong and instead engaged in a passionate exchange with Duan Lingtian. This made Prince Yong somewhat embarrassed. Duan Lingtian also noticed this and occasionally brought Prince Yong into the conversation, which saved Prince Yong a lot of embarrassment. Lingtian boy. Not long after, a hearty voice came in from outside at the right moment. Immediately afterwards, a majestic middle-aged man in a fiery red robe walked in with the gait of a dragon and a tiger, with extraordinary momentum. And beside the majestic middle-aged man, a young woman followed like a shadow. The woman was dressed in red, like a spirit in fire. In addition, she has a beautiful face that is so stunning that it can captivate people. Her dark eyebrows are like paintings, her eyes are like 2 drops of autumn water, her nose is delicate, her lips are red, and her teeth are white. Her natural and quiet facial features outline a perfect contour that is breathtakingly beautiful. Just like a fairy who has fallen into the mortal world. Brother Duan. When the red-dressed woman saw Duan Lingtian, A hint of surprise appeared on her beautiful face. Lord Feng. Duan Lingtian nodded and smiled at the dignified middle-aged man, then looked at the woman in red, Tianwu. The people who came were Feng Wudao and Feng Tianwu, father and daughter. Haha, Lingtian boy, you are finally here. Feng Wudao laughed heartily, and after a moment he walked up to Duan Lingtian, nodding with satisfaction. Not bad, you're even stronger than before. I heard from Grandma Su that you've qualified to participate in the Dynasty Martial competition in the Blackstone Empire. It seems your cultivation is quite good now. It's just okay. Duan Lingtian smiled modestly. Brother Duan. Feng Tianwu left Feng Wudao's side and stood beside Duan Lingtian, her pretty face slightly red, a little restrained. You're here. Duan Lingtian nodded. I'm coming. When Feng Tianwu heard Duan Lingtian's agreement, she seemed to remember something, and the blush on her pretty face became more obvious and clearly visible. Girls can't be kept at home when they grow up. As soon as Ling Tian came, you, Wuer, left me, your father, and sided with him. Feng Wudao deliberately sighed. Dad, what are you talking about? Suddenly, Feng Tianwu was so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole in the ground and crawl into it, and her face became even redder, as if blood would drip out. Okay, I'm not kidding you anymore. Ling Tian, who is this? Soon, Feng Wudao's gaze fell on Prince Yong. Prince Yong is really too conspicuous. He has a strong build and a dignified look, especially the cinnabar mole between his eyebrows, which is extremely obvious. Lord Feng, he is Prince Yong. Duan Lingtian introduced it again. King Yong, he is the strongest man in the Blackstone Empire. His reputation is well-deserved. Feng Wudao's eyes showed a hint of surprise, and he nodded. Thank you for taking care of Ling Tian all the way. Thank you very much. Master Wudao is too polite. Since Duan Lingtian came from our Blackstone Empire, it is only natural that I should take good care of him. In front of Feng Wudao, Prince Yong's breathing became rapid again and his heartbeat accelerated. Although he is the strongest man in the Blackrock Empire, he is respected by the people of the Blackrock Empire. But in front of Feng Wudao, he didn't dare to put on airs. You're fine. Feng Wudao nodded and smiled at King Yong. For a moment, Prince Yong was somewhat flattered. Ling Tian, I'm no longer the city lord. From now on, you can just call me Uncle Feng. Feng Wudao spoke to Duan Lingtian in a very kind voice, as if he were a kind elder. Yes, Uncle Feng. Duan Lingtian nodded hurriedly. 10 days from now, the Dynasty Martial Arts competition will begin. Tianwu will also be participating. The Tianwu of today is no longer the Tianwu of the past. If you meet her, you'll probably be at a disadvantage. At the end of this, Feng Wudao couldn't help laughing. He still remembered that it was his daughter who suffered in front of Duan Lingtian. In his opinion, this time, his daughter will be able to avenge her previous shame. Maybe. Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian glanced at Feng Tianwu beside him and smiled slightly. In fact, as early as when Feng Tianwu just appeared, his mental power had already extended out and explored Feng Tianwu's cultivation. Enter the 7th level of the Void Realm. Duan Lingtian was shocked by Feng Tianwu's cultivation. However, thinking of Feng Tianwu's fire spirit body, Duan Lingtian felt relieved again. As an innate spiritual body, the speed of cultivation is generally very fast, especially the comprehension of momentum and artistic conception, which is ridiculously fast. As Feng Tianwu has a fire spirit body, her speed of understanding of firepower and fire artistic conception is unimaginable to ordinary people. Perhaps, Tianwu's speed of comprehending the fire realm is even no less than that of a warrior with extremely high comprehension and fire realm fragments. Duan Lingtian thought secretly. However, Duan Lingtian's mental power could detect Feng Tianwu's current cultivation level, but he had no way of knowing the level of her fire state of mind. Dad, what are you talking about? Brother Lingtian is definitely better than me. Seeing Duan Lingtian's look, Feng Tianwu's pretty face, which had just calmed down, became a little rosy again, and she said to Feng Wudao. Between his words, he was full of confidence in Duan Lingtian. Feng Wudao couldn't help but smile bitterly when he saw his daughter protecting Duan Lingtian so much. Young man Lingtian, have you awakened your innate spiritual body now? Feng Wudao looked at Duan Lingtian and asked with his yuanly concentrated voice. There was a hint of solemnity in his tone. No. Duan Lingtian shook his head and replied with a concentrated voice. Uncle Feng, I wonder if that prophecy won't. Before Duan Lingtian could finish his words, Feng Wudao interrupted him with a firm and resolute tone. It was obvious that Feng Wudao blindly believed in the prophecy. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Speechless. Wait a little longer. In 2 or 3 years, you'll only be 30. Who knows, maybe you can awaken the water spirit body or the ice spirit body within these 2 or 3 years. Feng Wudao continued speaking with his yuanly concentrated voice. If I don't awaken that innate spirit until I'm 30, Uncle Feng, can you be sure that the prophecy is inaccurate? Duan Lingtian asked. Even if you can't awaken that innate spirit body by the time you're 30, as long as Wu doesn't meet someone with a water spirit body or a ice spirit body before she's 29, I hope you can marry her and unite with her. Feng Wudao concentrated his energy and spoke in a serious tone. Obviously, if that was the case, although he still believed in the prophecy, he was still a little shaken. If that time really came, he would rather try his luck than let his daughter face the danger of the fire spirit body exploding. Duan Lingtian was speechless upon hearing this. But he also knew that in Feng Wudao's eyes, he had become the only person who could save Feng Tianwu. That prophecy. Now, Duan Lingtian was speechless, wondering why the prophecy had chosen him. Although he had an extraordinary experience and also integrated the memories of the reincarnation Martial Emperor. But he really didn't think he could save Feng Tianwu. The fire spirit body is too tricky. He had already known this from the memories of the reincarnation Martial Emperor. However, Duan Lingtian also knew that since Feng Wudao had made his decision, there was no point in him saying anything more. I just hope it won't really come to that. If it does, I'll have no choice but to give it a try and see if I can help Tianwu survive that disaster. Duan Lingtian thought secretly. If I can't help Tianwu, I've done my best and have no regrets. If I can save Tianwu, I will fulfill my responsibilities as a man and be responsible for her. Duan Lingtian quickly made a decision in his heart. Uncle Feng, I heard that you plan to let Tianwu stand in front of the stage. Duan Lingtian remembered what Soup has said that day and couldn't help asking. Feng Wudao nodded and looked at Feng Tianwu lovingly. Over the years, Tianwu has been quietly by my side. Few people know of her existence. This time, I want everyone to know that the Feng family has such a little princess. There was an obvious sense of guilt in Feng Wudao's words. Duan Lingtian, who knew all the reasons, naturally understood why Feng Wudao felt guilty. But Feng Tianwu didn't know. Dad, I just want to stay by your side. I don't care if others know I'm your daughter or not. Feng Tianwu walked to Feng Wudao, took Feng Wudao's hand, and spoke softly. Suddenly, a voice condensed with yuanli came to Duan Lingtian's ears. Duan Lingtian, I want to talk to Master Wudao. Duan Lingtian nodded to Prince Yong, then turned to Feng Tianwu and said, Tianwu, take me around your Feng family mansion. Feng Tianwu nodded shyly upon hearing this. Okay. Uncle Feng, please ask you and Elder Kong to entertain Prince Yong. Prince Yong has been very caring towards me along the way. Before Duan Lingtian left with Feng Tianwu, he said to Feng Wudao and Kong Lao. Upon hearing this, Feng Wudao and the other man looked at each other, shook their heads, and smiled. Having lived together for most of their lives, the two naturally understood the deeper meaning behind Duan Lingtian's words. He undoubtedly hoped that they could entertain King Yong well. Over the years, Tianwu has had almost no companions of her age. Please help me take good care of Tianwu. Feng Wudao looked at Duan Lingtian deeply and replied, Must. Duan Lingtian nodded seriously. Immediately afterwards, Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu left the hall together, leaving this vast mansion within the mansion. After leaving the mansion, Duan Lingtian remembered something. He looked at Feng Tianwu and asked hesitantly, Tianwu, I heard that you haven't had much contact with other members of the Feng family since you were a child. Are you familiar with this Feng family mansion? Brother Duan, don't worry. Feng Tianwu smiled and said, Although I haven't had much contact with other members of the Feng family in the past, I still visit the Feng family mansion frequently. Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. Duan Lingtian didn't know that although the other members of the Duan family didn't know Feng Tianwu's identity, they knew that Feng Tianwu existed. Of course, in their eyes, Feng Tianwu is just Su Po's granddaughter. They had never connected Feng Tianwu with their master, Feng Wudao. Under Feng Tianwu's guidance, Duan Lingtian began to wander around the Feng family mansion. It must be said that the Feng family mansion was very large, and it took the two of them a long time to walk through even a small corner of the Feng family mansion. Brother Duan, I loved coming here when I was a kid. Every time Grandma, Su came up to fetch water, I would splash her all over. Unconsciously, Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu arrived in front of a large well. Feng Tianwu said with a smile. Feng Tianwu now looked like a child who had not grown up, pure and innocent. Looking at Feng Tianwu, Duan Lingtian's eyes were complicated and he sighed inwardly. Why is God so unfair to such a good girl? It doesn't matter if I have a rough life. Also gave her the fire spirit body. Duan Lingtian followed Feng Tianwu along the way and unknowingly arrived at a place near the center of the Feng family mansion. Brother Duan, go through the corridor in front and you will find the martial arts training ground of our Feng family mansion. Feng Tianwu pointed to the distance ahead and said. Duan Lingtian nodded and headed towards the martial arts arena with Feng Tianwu. The martial arts training grounds at the Feng family mansion were so vast that even Duan Lingtian couldn't help but smack his lips in amazement. What a huge training ground! Duan Lingtian couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. The martial arts training ground in the Feng family mansion was definitely the largest one he had ever seen before. Nowadays, the martial arts arena is very lively with people coming and going. There were also many people competing with each other, attracting a lot of onlookers. Feng Hao, is she from your Feng family? She's pretty good looking. Suddenly, a frivolous voice came to Duan Lingtian's ears. The voice came from behind him, and it was obviously said by someone behind him. I guess so. Soon, another voice came. She seems to be the granddaughter of the personal maidservant of the previous patriarch of our Feng family. However, she is very cold. I have tried to chat with her in the past, but she never paid any attention. Now, Duan Lingtian finally understood. It turned out that the person these two voices were discussing was Feng Tianwu, who was beside him. At this moment, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but glance at Feng Tianwu. Feng Tianwu, on the other hand, had a calm expression, as if she hadn't heard the conversation between the two people at all. However, when Feng Tianwu noticed Duan Lingtian looking at her, she shook her head slightly and said to Duan Lingtian with her yuanly concentrated voice, Brother Duan, you are a boring person. Don't bother with me. Duan Lingtian smiled and nodded. However, soon, the smile on Duan Lingtian's face froze. The granddaughter of the previous clan leader's wife's personal maid? So, she's just a lowly servant. The person who spoke first spoke again. At this moment, Duan Lingtian could see that Feng Tianwu's delicate body trembled slightly, and her pair of watery autumn eyes revealed anger. Whoosh! And at this moment, Duan Lingtian moved. Sweep away everything in one whirlwind. Duan Lingtian moved swiftly, as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye he was already behind him. Bang! A loud slap was heard. At this moment, Duan Lingtian paused. Now, Duan Lingtian stared coldly at the young man in fancy clothes who screamed and covered his face, saying in a deep voice, "Keep your mouth shut." Duan Lingtian's words were filled with coldness. Brother Duan. At this time, Feng Tianwu also stood beside Duan Lingtian. Her pretty face flushed, and a smile of happiness was on her face. "Little boy, you dare to hit me. Do you know who I am?" The young man in fancy clothes rubbed the swollen half of his face and spoke in a cold and inarticulate voice, his voice full of chill. "Boy, who are you? How dare you trespass into our Feng family?" At this time, another young man standing next to the young man in fancy clothes stared at Duan Lingtian and shouted. Duan Lingtian ignored the latter and looked directly at the young man in fancy clothes. A sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Now that you mention it, I'm really curious. Who are you, Humph? You don't even know who I am, and you dare to touch me. I think you are tired of living." The young man in fancy clothes snorted coldly and glared at Duan Lingtian, as if he wanted to turn into a ferocious beast and devour Duan Lingtian directly. "Boy, this is the second young master of the Yi family. You even dare to touch him. I think you are simply seeking death." Feng Hao, a member of the Feng family standing next to the young man in fancy clothes, also looked at Duan Lingtian and sneered. "The Yi family?" Duan Lingtian muttered to himself. Then, under the smug gaze of the young man in fancy clothes, Duan Lingtian shook his head. "Excuse me, I've been in the capital for over half a year, but I've never heard of the Yi family. Is the Yi family that awesome?" Later on, Duan Lingtian looked at the young man in fancy clothes and Feng Hao with curiosity. You. The smug smile on the face of the young man in fancy clothes froze instantly. He was so angry that his body began to tremble, and he pointed his finger at Duan Lingtian. But he didn't know what to say. The other party had never even heard of the Yi family, so how could he know him, the second young master of the Yi family? The Yi family is a powerful family in the Han dynasty, second only to the imperial family and our Feng family. The one next to me is the second son of the current patriarch of the Yi family, young Master Yi Xiang. Feng Hao stared at Duan Lingtian coldly, with an expression that said, "You're dead." Second only to the royal family and the Feng family? Duan Lingtian's heart moved slightly. Doesn't that mean that the Yi family can be compared with the Zhang family? Sorry, I haven't heard of it yet. Duan Lingtian shook his head, his expression calm and composed from beginning to end. As for Feng Tianwu, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, she didn't care at all. What a joke. Who is her father? The patriarch of the Feng family, Feng Wudao. It is suspected that he has surpassed the two ancestors of the Feng family. In other words, he is suspected to be the strongest person in the Feng family. She didn't care about a family that was not even as good as the Feng family. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Feng Hao and Yi Xiang's expressions became even uglier. "Boy, you haven't told me who you are and why you appear in our Feng family." Feng Hao said in a deep voice, "Not just anyone can enter our Feng family, especially this area. Without the permission of our Feng family's senior members, outsiders are not allowed to approach." Having said that, Feng Hao shifted his gaze and looked at Feng Tianwu deeply. It's like saying, "You don't seem to be qualified to bring people here, right?" Seeing the look Feng Hao gave Feng Tianwu, Duan Lingtian naturally guessed what Feng Hao was thinking and couldn't help laughing for a moment. He is very curious. What expression would Feng Hao have if he knew that Tianwu was the only daughter of Feng Wudao, the patriarch of the Feng family? He was really looking forward to that scene. Feng Tianwu ignored Feng Hao and completely ignored him. Duan Lingtian, however, laughed at this moment. "You just said that outsiders cannot approach this area without the permission of the Feng family senior members. Is that right?" Duan Lingtian asked Feng Hao in return. "Certainly." Feng Hao nodded. "Then he is now in this area. Could it be that he has obtained permission from the Feng family's senior members?" Duan Lingtian glanced at Yi Xiang lazily and asked again. "You?" Yi Xiang's mood had calmed down a bit, but he was just staring at Duan Lingtian with hatred. Now, when he heard Duan Lingtian mention him again, he couldn't help but get even more angry. Boy, it seems you really want to die. If you want me to die, you have to have the ability to do it. Duan Lingtian sneered. As the second young master of the Yi family, Yi Xiong was not a good-tempered person to begin with, and now, provoked by Duan Lingtian, he immediately exploded. Then I'll let you see what I can do. Yi Xiong roared, and his yuanli surged. He turned into a ferocious tiger, opening his bloody mouth and pouncing towards Duan Lingtian, as if he wanted to bite him to death. At the same time as Yi Xiong's figure flashed out, 3 phantoms of ancient horned dragons appeared in the void above his head. As he approached Duan Lingtian, 2 more ancient horned dragon shadows appeared. The power of 5 ancient horned dragons. The second level of the Void Realm, the second low-level state of mind. After seeing Yi Xiong's cultivation, Duan Lingtian's disdain grew even stronger. Presumptuous. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to attack, an angry cry suddenly rang out. A figure like a fire elf swept out, as if a ball of fire was sweeping towards Yi Xiong. The next moment, Yi Xiong screamed and flew backwards like an arrow. Boom. Yi Xiong fell heavily to the ground, rolled over several times, and looked very miserable. At this moment, a fiery red figure appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. It's Feng Tianwu. The change in front of him was so sudden that Feng Hao was unable to react for a while. Yi Xiong. When he realized what was happening, his face changed drastically, and he hurriedly went to help Yi Xiong up. You dared to attack Master Yi Xiong, you slut. Feng Hao looked at Feng Tianwu, his tone filled with anger. In his eyes, Feng Tianwu is just the granddaughter of an old maid in the Feng family. Although she usually lives in the mansion of her master, Feng Wudao, she has no status to speak of. In terms of status, I am only worthy of carrying his shoes. How dare such a lowly servant hurt his friend? Damn it! Snort. And at this moment, a cold snort was heard. Immediately afterwards, a whistling sound of wind swept out, and the next moment, a pop sound was heard. At some point, Duan Lingtian, dressed in purple, was standing in front of Feng Hao and Yi Xiong. And on Feng Hao's face, there was a clear slap mark, burning. Oh! Feng Hao let out a belated scream, staring at Duan Lingtian with nothing but hatred in his eyes. He wished he could grind Duan Lingtian into dust. Hey, isn't that Feng Hao? And the one next to him seems to be Yi Xiong, the second young master of the Yi family? Both of them have the same palm print on their faces. It seems that they were both slapped by this young man in purple. Oh my goodness, who is this guy? He's so awesome. At some point, many people approached where Duan Lingtian and the other 3 were, whispering among themselves. These people were all descendants of the Feng family. They were originally scattered around the Feng family's martial arts training grounds. Now that they had noticed the commotion here, they all gathered around with great interest. Seeing so many people surrounding them, Feng Hao and Yi Xiong felt very embarrassed. They felt the blood rushing to their foreheads, making their faces feel hot. When have they ever lost face so badly in their lives? Can this be tolerated? Boy, how dare you hit me? In this little piece of land of our Feng family, how dare you hit me? Feng Hao took a step forward and glared at Duan Lingtian. Didn't you just ask me if Yi Xiong had obtained permission from the Feng family's senior officials to come here? Now, I'll tell you. I, Feng Hao, am the only grandson of the 3rd elder of the Feng family. My friends can still enter here even without permission. Feng Hao's tone was filled with violence. He quickly looked at Feng Tianwu again. I am different from the slave girl beside you. Her background means she is not qualified to bring outsiders to this area. Feng Hao's voice was clanging. He didn't realize that when he said the word bitch again, the anger that had subsided in Duan Lingtian's eyes flared up again. You're such a jerk. It seems the lesson I just gave you wasn't enough. Duan Lingtian spoke, and although his tone was calm, it gave everyone present a chilling feeling. The next moment, Whoosh. Duan Lingtian moved again, transforming into a hurricane and sweeping out. Almost at the same moment, the onlookers could see that the clothes on Feng Hao and Yi Xiang suddenly fluttered, as if blown by the wind. Bang! The loud slapping sound rang out again, clear and sharp. Then everyone saw that Feng Hao, whose face was originally only swollen on one side, also had the other side of his face swollen and red, and his whole face looked like a pig's head. So fast. Too fast. The group of Feng family members who were watching were amazed at Duan Lingtian's fearless courage, and were also shocked by his methods. This young man looked to be around 25 years old at most. Even if she takes good care of herself, she should not be more than 30 years old. But the method he just used was clearly above the 4th level of the Void Realm. Such strength is shocking. Feng Tianwu stood not far away, watching Duan Lingtian stand up for her time and time again, and felt warm in her heart. There was a hint of happiness in her beautiful face. Feng Tianwu now looks like a fairy who has fallen in love with mortals. She looks so cute and lovely that people can't help but want to rush up and kiss her. You're dead. You're dead. Feng Hao was so angry that his body began to tremble violently, but his voice was a little unclear. The crowd watching were not surprised by this. Your mouth is swollen. How can you speak clearly? For a moment, many people looked at Duan Lingtian with fear. Most people were curious about who this young man was. How could he be so domineering as to beat the 3rd elder of the Feng family, their beloved grandson, into a pig's head? Moreover, the other party had apparently slapped Yi Xiang, the 2nd young master of the Yi family, before. I'm dead. Duan Lingtian didn't expect Feng Hao to dare to say this at this time. He couldn't help laughing. It seems that you haven't been slapped enough. Do you want to try again? Now, the smile on Duan Lingtian's face fell into Feng Hao's eyes, which was no doubt like that of a devil, causing his body to tremble uncontrollably. Boy, you can be proud now. Your fate was sealed the moment you attacked me. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Yi Xiang, who was beside Feng Hao, had an extremely cold look in her eyes as she stared at Duan Lingtian intently. The words sounded as if Duan Lingtian was doomed to die today. What? You still think you can kill me? Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sneer at Yi Xiang's overestimation of his own abilities. I can't kill you, but my Yi family is full of powerful people. Killing a young boy like you is a piece of cake. Yi Xiang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sneered. So, I can't escape death no matter what. Even if I kill you now, I don't have to worry about it. Duan Lingtian smiled and took a step forward. Duan Lingtian's unrestrained behavior made Yi Xiang's face change drastically. He hurriedly shouted, Boy, if you take another step forward, I will kill this bitch beside you without a burial place. At this moment, Duan Lingtian, whose face suddenly darkened, attacked again. Bang! Another slap made the other side of Yi Xiang's face swell up and turn into a pig head, following in Feng Hao's footsteps. You. Yi Xiang was slapped so hard by Duan Lingtian that she felt dizzy and couldn't utter a complete sentence for a long time. If anyone dares to insult Tianwu again, I will cut off his tongue. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed with cold light as he shouted. Suddenly, Yi Xiang and Feng Hao were so frightened that they dared not say another word, but there was still an extremely vicious gleam in the depths of their eyes. If they were strong enough, they would have killed Duan Lingtian long ago. Now, it is simply a case of when you live under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. Duan Lingtian naturally noticed the gazes of Yi Xiang and Feng Hao, but he was too lazy to pay attention. Tianwu, it's boring here, let's go back. Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu and said with a smile. Feng Tianwu was originally looking at Duan Lingtian with some obsession. Seeing Duan Lingtian looking over, she immediately lowered her head in shame. However, Feng Tianwu's pretty face soon changed color. Tianwu, what's wrong? Seeing Feng Tianwu's expression change drastically, Duan Lingtian felt a chill in his heart. Whoosh. However, Feng Tianwu did not respond to Duan Lingtian. She flew out directly, like a ball of crimson flame, sweeping towards where Feng Hao was. In an instant, Feng Hao was enveloped in flames. Ah! A shrill scream suddenly rang out, and then stopped abruptly. The next moment, the flame shook and turned into a fiery red figure, revealing a graceful figure. Boom! There was a loud noise, and Feng Hao fell straight to the ground with his eyes wide open, completely silent. Dead. After Feng Hao's body fell to the ground, there was dead silence all around. The group of Feng family members who were watching were all stunned and speechless for a long time as they stared at the woman in the fiery red dress in front of them. It took them a long time to come back to their senses. Oh my God, am I seeing things? She killed Feng Hao. Feng Hao is the third elder's only grandson. The third elder's son died early, so Feng Hao is the only one left in his lineage. Once Feng Hao dies, his lineage will be completely extinct. Too cruel. He killed Feng Hao. Even if she was Senior Su's granddaughter, I'm afraid I can't protect her. Yes, even if I respect Senior Su as much as I can, Senior Su's granddaughter killed the third elder's only grandson. If I intervene this time, I'm afraid I won't be able to explain myself to the third elder. A group of Feng family members were whispering. Many people looked at Feng Tianwu and couldn't help but shook their heads, with a hint of pity in their eyes. Obviously, none of them thought Feng Tianwu could survive. Tianwu. Seeing Feng Tianwu directly kill Feng Hao, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but be stunned. However, he was only stunned for a moment. After lightly glancing at Yi Xiang, who was standing aside and trembling, Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze to Feng Tianwu and said with a smile, "Tianwu, let's go back." Feng Tianwu's pretty face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost, but after hearing Duan Lingtian's words, it gradually melted away. Then, she and Duan Lingtian walked side by side and left the Feng family martial arts arena. Boom. As soon as Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu left, Yi Xiang could no longer hold on and collapsed to the ground, with cold sweat on his forehead. At that moment just now, he only felt that death was so close. Whether it was the young man in purple or the woman in red, their strength was far superior to his and beyond his reach. It would be easy to kill him. Now, he just felt that he had saved his life. However, thinking of the humiliation he had just suffered, his eyes still flashed with a frightening cold light. No matter how strong you are, what can you do? After all, you are just two juniors. To publicly humiliate me, the second young master of the Yi clan, is tantamount to slapping the face of the Yi clan. I want to see how you can withstand the wrath of the patriarch of the Yi clan. Taking a deep breath, Yi Xiang stood up suddenly as if he had been injected with chicken blood and walked out of the Feng family mansion. As for the body of his friend Feng Hao, he ignored it. At this moment, Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu also arrived outside the mansion where Feng Wudao lived. "Brother Duan, why don't you ask me why I killed him?" The extremely peaceful atmosphere throughout the journey was finally broken by Feng Tianwu. "No need to ask." Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled faintly. "Since you, Tianwu, took action yourself, then it must be that he said something he shouldn't have said. He definitely deserves to die." His words showed his unconditional support for Feng Tianwu. After hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Feng Tianwu finally smiled. "Brother Duan, let's go back." Feng Tianwu called out to Duan Lingtian, and the two of them returned to the mansion together. After returning, Duan Lingtian discovered that Prince Yong was gone. He said he was going back first. "Also, I told him that you would stay at my place for the remaining 10 days. Feng Wudao said to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian nodded and did not refuse. "Also, I heard about the conflict between you and the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch. I've asked Elder Kong to help you resolve this matter." Feng Wudao continued, "From now on, the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch will no longer try to trip you up." "Thank you, Uncle Feng." Duan Lingtian quickly thanked him. Zhang family. Brother Duan, what's going on? Feng Tianwu looked at Duan Lingtian curiously. It's nothing, just some small things. Then, Duan Lingtian told the story of his experiences in the Zhang family and how the Zhang family's patriarch's wife had sent people to kill him twice. What? She wants to kill you, Brother Duan? Feng Tianwu's pretty face changed color. Don't worry, I'm fine. Duan Lingtian shook his head and immediately looked at Feng Wudao. Uncle Feng, the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch, besides having the Zhang family as her support, her family background also seems to be quite powerful. Rest assured. Feng Wudao's face was calm, his eyes revealing a strong confidence. From now on, the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch will be like a mouse seeing a cat when she sees you. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian secretly took a deep breath. At this moment, he truly realized Feng Wudao's domineering. Zhang family. Today, the Zhang family mansion welcomed an uninvited guest. Senior Kong. In the Zhang family hall, the patriarch of the Zhang family respectfully welcomed the old man into the hall. As the patriarch of the Zhang family, his status was extremely prominent throughout the Han dynasty. But he knew in his heart that he was nothing in front of this old man. As the most outstanding inscription master in the Han dynasty, the old man has an extremely high status. Even the patriarch of the Feng family is respectful when he sees the old man. What's more, he is the patriarch of the Zhang family. Clan leader Zhang, come to think of it, you and I haven't seen each other for several years. Old Kong glanced at the head of the Zhang family indifferently. Yes. The head of the Zhang family nodded hurriedly, not daring to be negligent in the slightest. Then he asked, Senior Kong, I wonder why you came to my Zhang family this time? He believed that if there was nothing wrong, the old man would not have come to his Zhang family. Call your wife and your second son first. Kong Lao said. Madam, second son? Upon hearing this, the Zhang family head's expression changed slightly, and he said with some fear, Old Kong, could it be that my wife and son have offended you? If they have truly offended you, Old Kong, I will definitely not let them off easily. They didn't offend me. Kong Lao shook his head and said, just call them over. Hearing that it wasn't his wife and children who were causing the trouble, the Zhang family leader breathed a sigh of relief and replied respectfully, yes. Immediately afterwards, the head of the Zhang family ordered the servants outside the hall to call his wife and children over. Senior Kong. He stayed by the old man's side respectfully, fearing that he would neglect him. Clan leader Zhang, I heard that your eldest son, who left home for many years, has returned, and he seems to be quite capable. Congratulations. Old Kong said to the head of the Zhang family. Thank you, Senior Kong. When the head of the Zhang family heard the old man mention his eldest son, his expression became a little complicated, but he was mostly relieved. I've also heard a little about your eldest son. Here, this old fellow is overestimating his own abilities. I'd like to advise Patriarch Zhang. Children and grandchildren will have their own blessings. Marriage is just a means for the weak to socialize. Master Kong said word by word. That's what Senior Kong taught me. The Zhang family leader nodded, but he couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart, and even secretly thought, do you think it's all your Feng family? Do you think that our Zhang family has such a powerful inscription master, like you, and we are waiting for others to curry favor with us? However, he also knew. His eldest son's marriage was now a foregone conclusion, and he had no way of interfering. Even if he wanted to intervene now, he couldn't. Now, he, and even the entire Zhang family's Achilles heel, is firmly in the hands of his eldest son. Now, the Zhang family is still waiting for his son to shine in the Dynasty Martial Competition, or even the 10 Dynasties Martial Competition, and win glory for them. Chief, the madam and the second young master are here. Suddenly, a respectful voice came from outside the hall. Immediately afterwards, a middle-aged woman and a young man in brocade clothes walked into the hall. Everyone come here to see Kong Lao. The Zhang family patriarch looked at his wife and son and said in a deep voice, The people who came in now were none other than the wife of the Zhang family's patriarch and the second young master of the Zhang family, Zhang Shiyan. Empty old. When the two heard what the head of the Zhang family said, they were stunned at first. Soon, the clan leader's wife seemed to remember something, and she forced a smile on her face. She hurriedly stood beside the Zhang clan leader and bowed to the old man. Greetings, Master Kong. Obviously, she had also heard of this old man from the Feng family. Mr. Kong. Zhang Shuyuan quickly followed suit and saluted with a smile on his face. Although he was not very familiar with some of the older generation of powerful men in the Han dynasty. But just now his father used his Yuanli to condense his voice to remind him, making him realize that the old man in front of him was not simple. However, soon, the smiles on the faces of the three members of the Zhang family froze. Snort. With a cold snort, Kong Lao attacked immediately. Wow. As Master Kong raised his hand, a condensed palm print of energy whizzed out and hit the woman's dantian. Ah! In an instant, the woman let out a shrill scream, then bent over and trembled all over. My cultivation, my cultivation. At this moment, the woman came back to her senses, her eyes widening as she stared at Kong Lao unwillingly. Why? Why? She knew exactly who the old man in front of her was. In front of the old man, she was nothing like an ant. Mr. Kong. Why are you doing this? The Zhang family head's face changed drastically. He suppressed his anger and asked in confusion. Zhang Shuyuan, who was standing by, was already stunned. Why? Elder Kong glanced at the woman calmly and said slowly, to tell you the truth, it was not my intention to destroy your cultivation. Kong Lao's short words made the three members of the Zhang family feel a chill in their hearts. Who could drive this old man to come to the Zhang family? Master Kong, you mean, is this what Master Wu Dao meant? The head of the Zhang family couldn't help but gasp and asked in a trembling voice. As far as he knows. Although Mr. Kong is from the Feng family. But even the patriarch of the Feng family and the two ancestors of the Feng family could not control old Kong. There is only one person who can drive Kong Lao. That is the patriarch of the Feng family, Feng Wu Dao. Chief Zhang, you are very smart. Mr. Kong nodded. Master Kong, why did Lord Wu Dao do this? I really don't know how I offended him. When she heard that Feng Wu Dao was the mastermind behind all this, the woman's face turned pale, and her eyes, which had originally been filled with anger, dimmed in an instant. She knew it clearly. If that person really wanted to touch her, let alone the Zhang family, even if the power of the Zhang family and her mother's family were added together, it would not be enough to stop him. She and that man are not on the same level at all. If I really had to describe the distance between her and that person, it would be worlds apart. And because of this, she was curious about how she had offended that person. Although she was arrogant, if that person was involved, she would not dare to lose her temper even if she had 100 courage. Why do you do this? Mr. Kong looked at the woman deeply and asked, You really don't know? Please let me know, Master Kong. The woman said somewhat unwillingly. Snort. Old Kong snorted coldly and then said, The second-level Cavern Void Realm warrior you sent out this morning is dead. Boom. When the woman heard this, her face changed drastically, her legs went weak and she collapsed to the ground. Now do you understand? Kong Lao asked calmly. What's going on? Seeing that old Kong was playing a guessing game with his wife, the head of the Zhang family couldn't help but frown and look at his wife. The woman nodded woodenly when she heard what Kong Lao said. Then, as if she remembered something, she raised her head and looked at Kong Lao. There's one thing I don't understand. Lord Wu Dao, why are you helping him? She couldn't figure this out no matter how hard she tried. In her opinion, Lord Wu Dao is high and mighty. Even the emperor of the Han dynasty would not dare to be negligent towards Lord Wu Dao. But that kid only came from a small empire. Logically speaking, there couldn't be any connection between him and Lord Wu Dao. Since you're so interested in knowing, then I'll tell you. He's Master Wu Dao's son-in-law. Later on, Master Kong spoke word by word. A good son-in-law? Lord Wu Dao's? For a moment, not only the woman was confused, even the head of the Zhang family was confused. Zhang Shuyuan was also stunned. Isn't the one from the Feng family a lonely person? He has a daughter? Moreover, you even have a son-in-law? Master Wu Dao has said that the matter between you and him is over. If you persist, Master Wu Dao doesn't mind personally taking action to teach you a lesson. While Master Kong was talking, he walked out of the hall. When they reached the main hall entrance, Kong Lao stopped and looked back at the woman. Once Lord Wu Dao takes action, what will happen will be beyond your and my ability to predict. After saying this, Old Man Kong left without looking back and disappeared in front of the Zhang family of 3. The woman completely lost her strength and fell to the ground with a bang. Mother! Zhang Shuyuan hurriedly squatted down and helped the woman up. Ma'am, what's going on? The head of the Zhang family looked at the woman and asked in a deep voice. He realized the unusualness of the matter. However, the woman ignored him and just stared blankly in dismay, with a hint of fear in her eyes. For a moment, the head of the Zhang family was helpless. He saw it. Now, no matter how much he asked, it was useless. He could only ask his wife something after she recovered. Feng family. How? An old and sad voice suddenly rang out from a spacious courtyard. In the courtyard, an elderly man was squatting on the ground, gently stroking the face of a young man lying on the ground with his trembling, skinny hands. The young man was pale and breathless, obviously having been dead for a long time. After a while, the old man took a deep breath, his eyes revealing a terrifying, murderous intent. No matter who you are, if you dare to kill my grandson, I will tear you into pieces. The Feng family's direct line is divided into several branches. His lineage was passed down to his grandson, who was the only one left. Now that his grandson is dead, it means that his lineage will be extinct. How could he not be angry? Tell me, who did it? Finally, the old man stood up and looked at the 2 Feng family members who carried his grandson's body back and asked in a deep voice. It's Senior Su's granddaughter. The 2 Feng family disciples did not dare to neglect and spoke hurriedly. What? Who are you talking about? After hearing what the 2 Feng family members said, the old man's face changed drastically, and his body couldn't help but tremble violently. He asked again, as if he wanted to confirm. That's Senior Su's granddaughter. I think her name is Tianwu. A member of the Feng family said. Tianwu? Feng Tianwu? It's her. How could it be her? The old man took several steps back, closed his eyes in pain, and fell to his knees in front of his grandson's body. Others may not know the true identity of Feng Tianwu, but how could he not know it? For a moment, the 2 Feng family members looked at each other in confusion. The scene before them seemed completely different from what they had imagined. In their imagination, the old man should be furious and go straight to the murderer to cause trouble, or even kill the murderer to avenge his only grandson. But now, the old man didn't do that. And it seems like he has given up on himself. Get out. Finally, the old man's voice suddenly rang out, mixed with a bit of shame and anger, scaring the 2 Feng family members so much that they hurriedly left. What's wrong with the 3rd elder today? Is he sick? This is not like him. Yes, the 3rd elder has always doted on Feng Hao. Today, Feng Hao was killed. Logically, he should have gone straight to seek revenge. But now, he doesn't seem to have that intention. After the 2 Feng family members left, they discussed quietly, feeling deeply puzzled. How? In the courtyard, the old man looked at the corpse in front of him, his face filled with growing grief and anger. Grandpa is useless. I can't avenge you. However, for what happened today, no matter what, Grandpa will give you justice. After saying that, the old man stood up and left the compound. After a while, the old man went all the way to the mansion within the mansion where Feng Wudao, the patriarch of the Feng family, lived. Inside the mansion, Duan Lingtian was chatting with Feng Wudao and his daughter. Now, Feng Tianwu's mood had completely calmed down, and Duan Lingtian couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Boom, boom. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. As Grandma Su opened the door, the sound of impatient footsteps reached the ears of Duan Lingtian, who was sitting in the hall. He comes with bad intentions. Duan Lingtian sensed something was wrong just by hearing the footsteps. I don't know if it's the third elder or someone from the Yi family. Duan Lingtian's heart moved, and he speculated secretly. The smile on Feng Wudao's face also faded, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. At this time, Feng Tianwu also felt that the atmosphere was not right. Master, Feng Qing requests an audience. The old and loud voice was clearly transmitted into the hall. Third elder, a rare guest. Feng Wudao stood up and instantly disappeared from the sight of Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu. When he reappeared, he was already outside the main hall. So fast. Duan Lingtian's pupils shrank. At the same time, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but be curious, and his mental power quietly extended out, sweeping towards Feng Wudao's location. Want to find out Feng Wudao's specific cultivation level. Soon, Duan Lingtian discovered that his mental power disappeared out of thin air before it even got close to Feng Wudao. It's like a stone sinking into the sea. With my current mental strength, I can't even detect Uncle Feng's cultivation level. For a moment, Duan Lingtian secretly took a deep breath. My spiritual power is unable to detect Uncle Feng's cultivation level. There are only two possibilities. First, Uncle Feng's cultivation is no longer at the Void Cavern realm. He has most likely broken through to the Void Transformation realm. Second, Uncle Feng is still a warrior at the Void Cavern realm, but he has comprehended the high-level intentional realm. Regardless of which point, Feng Wudao's strength was enough to shock Duan Lingtian. He is worthy of being a person of transcendent status in the Feng family. Third elder. Feng Tianwu's expression changed slightly, and she hurriedly followed. Duan Lingtian naturally followed. After a while, Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu followed Feng Wudao and slowly walked out of the hall. Outside the hall, an old man over 70 years old stood there. At this moment, the old man stared at Feng Tianwu with his eyes blazing with fire, as if he wanted to kill Feng Tianwu right away. Third elder, do you have something to talk to me about? Feng Wudao naturally noticed the old man's gaze. His face darkened slightly, and he asked, Uncle. The old man took a deep breath and turned his gaze to Feng Wudao. The hatred in his eyes turned into grief and indignation. My only grandson was killed today. Please seek justice for me. What? Feng Wudao frowned. What's going on? He naturally knew the situation of the old man's lineage. His son died young, leaving only one grandson. The death of the grandson means that the last only child is gone, and the family line will be extinct. Master, please give me justice. The old man knelt on the ground and begged. For a moment, Feng Wudao's frown deepened. Seeing this scene, Duan Lingtian did not dare to hesitate, and hurriedly used his Yuanli to condense his voice to tell Feng Wudao everything that had happened before. He was really worried that Feng Wudao would agree to the old man to seek justice for him. In that case, even if Tianwu was Feng Wudao's own daughter, Feng Wudao would have to do something to comfort the old man. That was something he didn't want to see. After hearing Duan Lingtian's condensed energy, Feng Wudao frowned. He turned to look at Feng Tianwu beside him and asked in a deep voice, Tianwu, did you kill the third elder's grandson? Yes. Feng Tianwu nodded in acknowledgement, her face calm. Did you know that he is the third elder's only grandson? Feng Wudao asked again. I've heard of it. Feng Tianwu nodded. Then why did you do such a cruel thing? Feng Wudao asked again. At this moment, even the old man kneeling on the ground couldn't help but look up at Feng Tianwu. Feng Tianwu knew in her heart that if she didn't say anything at this moment, it would definitely embarrass her father. So, after taking a deep breath, she spoke bluntly. That Feng Hao was rude to me and humiliated me twice. Brother Duan stood up for me. Later, he got scared of Brother Duan and threatened me with humanly condensed sound. He said, "If I don't go spend the night with him tonight, not only will Brother Duan die, but I will die too." As she spoke, Feng Tianwu's voice grew colder. "So he deserves to die." Feng Tianwu looked at the old man kneeling on the ground without any scruples. The old man's expression changed completely after Feng Tianwu said the last sentence. He never thought that there was such a reason behind it. "Third elder, did you hear clearly?" Almost the moment Feng Tianwu finished speaking, a layer of frost covered Feng Wudao's face. He said in a low voice, "If I had been there, I would not have held back. My daughter has had a rough life, and in the end, she was humiliated by your grandson like this. Do you think your grandson deserves to die?" The old man's face turned extremely pale when he heard this. "Uncle, I was reckless in this matter. Indeed, he deserves to die." After saying this, the old man stood up. After saying goodbye to Feng Wudao again, he left in shame. "Lingtian, come sit with Wu'er in the backyard." Suddenly, Duan Lingtian noticed Feng Wudao looking over. Duan Lingtian nodded and called out to Feng Tianwu. Before leaving, Duan Lingtian used his inner energy to condense his voice and communicate with Feng Wudao. "Uncle Feng, this third elder of your Feng family doesn't seem to be someone you can easily deal with. I have a feeling he won't let this go. Lingtian boy, why do you think I asked you and Wu'er to go to the backyard?" Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Feng Wudao asked back. This made Duan Lingtian stunned. When he came to his senses, he understood what Feng Wudao meant. It turned out that Feng Wudao had already seen through it. "It's me who's been too talkative." Duan Lingtian smiled awkwardly, and then he and Feng Tianwu went to the backyard together. At the same time, he did not forget to comfort Feng Tianwu. "Tianwu, you don't need to take to heart what some people who are worse than animals say. Brother Duan, I'm fine." Hearing Duan Lingtian's comfort, Feng Tianwu forced a smile on her face. Inside and outside the palace. After the Feng family's third elder, Feng Qing, left, a cold gleam in his eyes, "Feng Wudao, your daughter probably doesn't know her life story yet. When I find some evidence of how our Feng family wiped out the Long family, I will tell her the truth for you." Ha ha ha. Thinking of this, Feng Qing's face turned ferocious, as if he was possessed by a demon. He knew it clearly. It is almost impossible to kill Feng Tianwu and avenge his grandson. With Feng Wudao by Feng Tianwu's side, he will never succeed in his life. So, he chose another way to take revenge on Feng Tianwu. I think when she learns the truth of that year, she will feel more pain than death. Her grandfather was angered to death by her own mother. Her mother committed suicide because of her family. My grandparents and many other relatives all died at the hands of people from my own family. I'm curious, what will her expression be when she finds out about all this? Feng Qing muttered to himself. It's a pity that you are destined not to see it. At this moment, a faint voice suddenly came to Feng Qing's ears. The sound seemed to be right next to my ear, yet it also seemed to come from thousands of miles away, making it difficult to grasp. However, he was extremely familiar with this voice. He had heard this voice just now. The next moment, Feng Qing felt a sense of crisis enveloping his heart, making him almost suffocate. Feng Wu. It's a pity that Feng Qing was destined to never finish what he was saying. Call out. An extremely swift stream of fiery red light streaked across the sky, like a tiny meteor, and pierced directly into Feng Qing's brow. In an instant, the blood on Feng Qing's brow could not stop flowing. Boom. He soon fell in a pool of blood, his eyes wide open, staring blankly at the sky, and gradually died. Soon, a wisp of flames suddenly jumped out from between Feng Qing's eyebrows. The flames quickly covered Feng Qing's entire body, burning him to ashes. Because this place is relatively remote, no one noticed the movement here in a short period of time, and no one knew that Feng Qing was dead. Call. As if a gust of wind blew by, Feng Qing, which turned into ashes, scattered in the wind, and disappeared into the air in an instant. And a fiery red figure suddenly appeared where Feng Qing had just stood. I've treated my daughter badly enough in my life. No matter who it is, if they dare to make my daughter unhappy, I will never forgive them. The owner of the fiery red figure is a majestic middle-aged man wearing a fiery red long-sleeved shirt, who is now muttering to himself. Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu stayed in the backyard of the mansion for a while before returning to the front yard. Just because there was another uninvited guest in the front yard. This time, there were two uninvited guests. No matter whether it was Duan Lingtian or Feng Tianwu, they both felt no stranger to one of them. Yi Xiang, the second young master of the Yi family. Dad, it's him. He slapped me twice and blasphemed our Yi family. Yi Xiang pointed at Duan Lingtian and said to the middle-aged man in green robe beside him. The middle-aged man in a green robe looked somewhat similar to Yi Xiang and was obviously the patriarch of the Yi family. Now, the patriarch of the Yi family heard Yi Xiang's words, but he did not target Duan Lingtian. Instead, he looked at Feng Wudao, who was standing beside him. Master Wudao, this is... As the patriarch of the Yi family, he has a unique vision. He could see it. The patriarch of the Feng family, Feng Wudao, seemed to think highly of this young man in purple. Him? He's my son-in-law. Feng Wudao glanced at the Yi clan leader calmly and said slowly, "Whatever the Yi clan leader wants to do, please do as you wish." Son-in-law. The head of the Yi family was dumbfounded, and Yi Xiang was also dumbfounded. Son-in-law? How could this person from the Feng family have a son-in-law? Isn't he childless? Master Wudao, may I ask where your daughter is now? The head of the Yi family took a deep breath and couldn't help asking. At the same time, his eyes accidentally fell on the woman in red standing beside him, and he felt his scalp tingling. He had previously known everything about the conflict between his son and the young couple from his son's mouth. Of course, there was a limit to what he could learn from his son. According to his son, the one he called a slut was just an insignificant maid. But now, he had an ominous premonition in his heart. No matter how he looked at the woman in red before him, he didn't think she looked like a maid, but more like a young lady. Is patriarchy dazzled? Isn't my daughter standing next to my son-in-law? Feng Wudao said lightly. Almost in line with Feng Wudao's words, Duan Lingtian reached out and took Feng Tianwu's hand, squinting his eyes as he looked at the Zhang father and son from the Yi family. Especially that Yi Xiang. Duan Lingtian deliberately gave him a deep look. Duan Lingtian knew that Yi Xiang was going to be in trouble. Yi Xiang's expression was extremely ugly, and her body was trembling with fear. She is the daughter of Lord Wudao? Damn Feng Hao, didn't he say she was just a maid? Now, Yi Xiang even wanted to whip Feng Hao's corpse. Even if you want to cheat someone, you can't do it this way. Brute. At this moment, the head of the Yi family came back to his senses from his shock, raised his hand, and slapped Yi Xiang in the face, making Yi Xiang dizzy. The half of Yi Xiang's face, which had recovered a little due to taking the healing pill, became swollen again. Father! Yi Xiang was stunned, completely stunned. Didn't his father come to stand up for him? You beast, you still have the nerve to call me. I don't have a son like you. The patriarch of the Yi family turned into an angry King Kong. He raised his hand and slapped Yi Xiang again with his slap, making Yi Xiang look like a pig's head. But even so, he still had no intention of stopping. Snap, 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 snap. Yi Xiang's face was almost bruised by his father's slaps one after another. This scene caught Duan Lingtian off guard. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but sigh inwardly. As expected of a clan leader, he's really courageous. He seems to be teaching his son a lesson, but in fact, he's protecting him. Duan Lingtian easily guessed the Yi family patriarch's plan. Today, the head of the Yi family, led by Yi Xiang, came to demand an explanation, and their original intention was naturally to deal with him and Feng Tianwu. However, After knowing Feng Tianwu's true identity, the head of the Yi family would definitely not dare to have any thoughts of revenge anymore. Feng Tianwu's father is Feng Wudao. Feng Wudao, the uncle of the Feng family, has reached the pinnacle of cultivation. It is rumored that he has surpassed the two ancestors of the Feng family and is catching up with the most powerful person in the royal family of the Han dynasty. How could the Yi family dare to provoke such an existence? Bang! The head of the Yi family raised his hand and slapped Yi Xiang unconscious. He then looked at Feng Wudao respectfully and lowered his head. Master Wudao, I have failed to educate my son properly, causing him to offend your daughter and your son-in-law. Please punish me, Master Wudao. The Yi family leader spoke in an extremely humble manner. As for Feng Wudao, he remained calm from beginning to end, as if everything that had just happened had nothing to do with him. Chief Yi. Finally, Feng Wudao spoke, saying calmly, since you've already taught your son a lesson, let's put this matter behind us. I don't want the same thing to happen again. Yes. Thank you, Master Wudao. The head of the Yi family secretly wiped a cold sweat from his forehead and responded respectfully. Immediately afterwards, he said goodbye to Feng Wudao, carried the unconscious Yi Xiang on his back, and hurriedly left the mansion where Feng Wudao lived and left the Feng family. Along the way, his heart was bleeding as he watched the blood and flesh on his unconscious son's face. Although, in terms of martial arts talent, his second son is not as good as his eldest son. But after all, they are all his sons, and he treats them with all his heart. Now that he has beaten them like this, it would be a lie to say that he doesn't feel heartbroken. Xianger, don't blame me for being cruel. If I hadn't used this torture trick in time today, you wouldn't even be able to survive. The head of the Yi family sighed. In the Han dynasty, there was a saying, it is better to offend the king of hell than to offend the unjust. Among them, Wudao refers to Feng Wudao of the Feng family. From this we can see how terrifying Feng Wudao is. After the father and son of the Yi family left, the spacious mansion returned to peace. There are still 10 days left. During these 10 days, you too must train hard. In the Dynasty Martial Arts competition, even a Void Realm 7th level warrior may not be able to advance. Feng Wudao looked at Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu and said solemnly, as for the final 10 Dynasties martial competition, it will be even more intense. By then, if you don't have the cultivation level of the Void Realm, I'm afraid you won't be eligible to compete for the top 10 spots. Dongxi Realm. There were clanging sounds as Feng Wudao spoke. Feng Tianwu's pretty face tightened slightly. As for Duan Lingtian, he still looked calm. He was mentally prepared for this, so he wasn't that surprised. Tianwu, go back to your room first. I still have something to say to Lingtian. Feng Tianwu left at Feng Wudao's invitation, while Feng Wudao looked at Duan Lingtian, a playful smile unconsciously forming on the corner of his mouth. Seeing Feng Wudao smiling, Duan Lingtian was startled at first, then smiled guiltily. Uncle Feng, do you have anything to say to me? Young man Lingtian, I'd like to know what your current level of cultivation is. How has your understanding of the realm of mind been? Wu told me that when you attacked the second young master of the Yi family, it seemed you weren't using your full strength yet. Feng Wudao looked at Duan Lingtian deeply and asked, Uncle Feng, what is my cultivation level and how well I have comprehended the artistic realm? Won't you know it during the Dynasty Martial competition? Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled. Feng Wudao choked up and said with a wry smile, You little brat, you're still keeping me in suspense right in front of me. Well, then, I'll see if you can be a match for Wu. Mrs. Su, prepare a guest room for Lingtian. Immediately afterwards, Feng Wudao gave instructions to the old woman standing beside him. Yes. Grandma Su said respectfully, called out to Duan Lingtian, and led him out of the main hall. Duan Lingtian followed Su Pa into a quaint courtyard. The courtyard is very clean, and the rooms inside are also very clean, and it is obvious that they are cleaned regularly. You just need to prepare some daily necessities. Master Lingtian, If you have any instructions, just let me know. I won't bother you anymore. After preparing daily necessities for Duan Lingtian, Grandma Su said goodbye and left, then helped Duan Lingtian close the courtyard door. After Supa left, Duan Lingtian sat cross-legged on the bed, took out the fragment of Wind's state of mind, and immediately closed his eyes. At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt that his mood had completely calmed down. However, he did not practice the 9 Dragons Battle Sovereign Art. Now, as Yuanli has reached the limit of the 9th level of the Void Realm, and he only needs an opportunity to break through to the Void Cave Realm. This opportunity is to comprehend the intermediate artistic conception. At this moment, Duan Lingtian pondered for a moment. I made a summary of my current strengths. My current cultivation level is the 9th level of the Void Realm. My Yuanli alone is comparable to the strength of 12 ancient horned dragons. In addition, my Wind Realm has also broken through to the 7th level. Although the 7th level of the Wind Realm is only at a low level, it is enough to compare to the strength of 7 ancient horned dragons. Also, my progress in the Thunder Realm and Earth Realm is far inferior to that of the Wind Realm because I don't have the realm fragments to assist my comprehension. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sigh. His comprehension of the state of mind of Wind was aided by a 5-layer high-level fragment of state of mind of Wind he had obtained from the Sword Emperor's treasury, and his progress was rapid. Now, I have realized the 7th level. With the help of the fragments of artistic realm, comprehending low-level artistic conceptions has become incredibly simple. I have a feeling that before the Dynasty Martial competition, I might be able to comprehend the artistic realm of the Eightfold Wind. Duan Lingtian thought secretly. As for the other 2 realms, I comprehended. The realm of Thunder, I only comprehended to the 3rd level. The realm of Earth was the last one I comprehended, and it was even worse. I only comprehended to the 1st level. Thinking about the progress of these 2 kinds of artistic conceptions, Duan Lingtian felt somewhat helpless. However, something is better than nothing. The Triple Thunder Realm and the 1 Great Earth Realm combined can at least increase the power of the 4 ancient horned dragons. Soon, Duan Lingtian felt relieved again. It's a pity that I don't have the fragment of Thunder Realm and the fragment of Earth Realm. Otherwise, these 2 realms would surely improve rapidly. Of course, Duan Lingtian only thought so in his mind. Fragments of artistic conception cannot just appear out of nowhere. Apart from anything else, within the Han Dynasty and the surrounding dynasties, there might not be another person who possesses the fragments of artistic conception except him. Fragments of artistic conception are so rare. Duan Lingtian sighed. And those 3 mystery fragments. In Duan Lingtian's hand, in addition to a Wind Realm fragment and a Sword Realm fragment, there are also 3 mystery fragments. The fragments of the secret were left by the Sword Emperor in white. They are the secret fragments of Wind, Thunder, and Sword respectively. However, with Duan Lingtian's current understanding of artistic realm, he simply couldn't comprehend the 3 mystery fragments. When Duan Lingtian can comprehend any of the 3 realms of Wind, Thunder, and Sword to the 9th level high, the mystery fragment will come in handy. Duan Lingtian now has a mountain of treasures but cannot even take a single needle or thread from them. Only by obtaining the power to mine the treasure mountain can the treasure mountain be mined. Obviously, Duan Lingtian does not have this power yet. From the current perspective, it's pointless for me to continue practicing the 9 Dragons Battle Sovereign Art. The most urgent task is to comprehend the higher level of the state of the wind. Duan Lingtian had a certain understanding of his plan before breaking through to the Void Realm. Fully comprehend the artistic conception of wind. Comprehend the artistic conception of the Eightfold Wind, and even the artistic conception of the Ninefold Wind. After the 9th level of Wind Realm, one can go one step further and reach the first intermediate level of Wind Realm. At that time, he will be able to break through to the Dongxi Realm. Duan Lingtian, Realizing this, opened his eyes, got out of bed, walked out of the room, stood in the yard, and quietly felt the breeze blowing towards him. In his hand, he held the fragment of wind tightly. Wind. At the same time, Duan Lingtian's mind was completely immersed in the comprehension of the artistic conception of wind. Time passes quietly. Late at night, Duan Lingtian remained motionless. At some point, the door of the courtyard was opened and a skinny, elderly figure walked in. It was an old woman. After the old woman placed the wine and delicacies in her hands on the stone table in the yard, she glanced at the young man in purple standing there quietly, then turned and left, closing the gate behind her. "Mrs. Su, is Ling Tian still practicing?" The old woman had just taken a few steps when she heard a voice coming from the front. "Uncle." For a moment, Grandma Su respectfully saluted the visitor. The person who came was Feng Wudao. Feng Wudao nodded. Young Master Ling Tian is not practicing, but standing in the courtyard, as if he is comprehending the artistic realm. Grandma Su told him everything she had just seen. Comprehend the artistic conception. Feng Wudao raised his brows, took a few steps forward with interest, and opened the gate of the courtyard where Duan Lingtian lived. In the courtyard, the young man in purple stood there quietly, like a statue. "I'm really trying to grasp the artistic conception." Feng Wudao's gaze fell on the body of the young man in purple. Now, on the body of the young man in purple, there are wisps of faint green energy flickering, and bursts of deep aura permeate the air. This aura belongs to the artistic conception. Feng Wudao was no stranger to this kind of artistic conception. The artistic conception of wind. When Feng Wudao raised his hand, the air flowed and gusts of strong wind rushed out from his sleeves and rushed towards the young man in purple. At this moment, the green energy on the purple-clothed young man's body suddenly surged up, blocking the oncoming strong wind. Wow! Above the void, the power of heaven and earth trembled, finally converging into the phantoms of 7 ancient horned dragons. The artistic conception of the 7th wind. The scene before him greatly surprised Feng Wudao. This little fellow's comprehension is actually so high. It's really surprising. Among the current generation of the Han Dynasty, in terms of comprehension, I'm afraid only Wu can surpass him. However, Wu was born with a fire spirit body and has a special sensitivity to the state of fire. Comparing her with him would be a bit unfair. Feng Wudao murmured. Perhaps, if Feng Wudao knew that Duan Lingtian was able to comprehend the wind state of mind to such a high level in such a short period of time thanks to the fragment of the wind state of mind, he would not have thought so. "You're lucky, kid. It just so happens that besides the fire state of mind, I'm also good at the wind state of mind." Feng Wudao stood there with a solemn expression. The next moment, he opened his hands. In an instant, a strong wind blew in the courtyard, sweeping towards the young man in purple. Duan Lingtian tightly grasped the fragment of the wind's artistic conception in his palm, closed his eyes, and calmly comprehended the wind's artistic conception. Through the breeze flowing through the air. With the addition of the fragments of the wind's artistic conception, his comprehension of the wind's artistic conception improved at an extremely fast speed. Originally, everything was calm. But suddenly, Duan Lingtian felt the breeze turn into a strong wind, enveloping him. The raging wind allowed Duan Lingtian to feel the power of the wind more clearly. With the help of the fragments of the wind state of mind, Duan Lingtian found that his comprehension of the wind state of mind was faster. I don't know how long it took, but the strong wind gradually died down. Duan Lingtian also woke up. Only then did he realize that it was already late at night. A strong wind has blown up tonight. It's really unexpected. Duan Lingtian looked at the flowers and plants in the courtyard that were blown to pieces by the strong wind, and shook his head and smiled. For these flowers and plants, strong winds are a nightmare. But for him, it can help him better understand the artistic conception of wind. young Master Ling Tian. Suddenly, an old voice came from outside the yard. Senior. Duan Ling Tian opened the door and welcomed the visitor in. It was none other than Pasu. Master Ling Tian, I brought food over for dinner, but you were practicing at the time, so I made some new food. Eat it while it's hot. Grandma Su placed all the fine wine and delicacies on the stone table in the yard. Thank you, Senior. Duan Lingtian quickly thanked him. After Supa left, Duan Lingtian smelled the aroma of the food and his appetite was whetted. He devoured it all in a flash. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Duan Lingtian leaned against the table and looked up at the bright moon in the sky. The moon tonight is especially round. Before, Xiao Jin and I would fight for food, but now, it's a bit deserted. At some point, Duan Lingtian sighed. Days go by one. The Dynasty Martial Arts competition is getting closer. Today, the capital of the Han Dynasty is bustling with activity. Not only did the young warriors from the major empires gather together, but even the family forces and sect forces spread across the Han Dynasty had young talents as representatives to participate in the Dynasty Martial Arts competition. However, although there are more people, the order in the capital is still as good as before. No one dared to cause trouble in the capital. Duan Lingtian stayed at the Feng family these days and didn't go anywhere else. Although the approaching Dynasty Martial Arts competition did not put him under pressure, he still spent all his time on comprehending the artistic conception of wind. With the fragments of the wind's state of mind, he hardly encountered any bottlenecks in his comprehension of the wind's state of mind. All the best. These days, Duan Lingtian confirmed a fact. Many times, when he was comprehending the artistic conception of wind in the courtyard, there would be strong winds. But when he asked some of the Feng family's generals, he learned the truth. The weather has been very good these days, and there has never been a strong wind. I think it should be Uncle Feng or Master Kong who is helping me. Duan Lingtian guessed something. Days passed, and finally it was the day before the Dynasty Martial Arts competition. At this time, the entire Feng family became lively. I heard that our Feng family's 2 spots in the Dynasty Martial Arts competition have been secured, besides young Master Yunxiang. Who is the other one? In a corner of the Feng family's martial arts training ground, a Feng family member curiously asked his companions. You don't even know this? The latter was greatly shocked. I've been in seclusion for some time, and I just came out today. The former touched the back of his head sheepishly and smiled awkwardly. Humph, I just passed the level today too, but I think I can guess who the other person is. It should be young Master Yunfei. Not far away, a member of the Feng family came over and said as a matter of course. Indeed, the most outstanding young master of our Feng family. After young Master Yunxiang, the next one is undoubtedly young Master Yunfei. Humph, you guessed wrong. It's not Master Yunfei. Not Master Yunfei? How is that possible? What's impossible? Among the younger generation of our Feng family, besides young Master Yunxiang and young Master Yunfei, there is also an unparalleled genius. Who is that? Soon, many Feng family members who were behind in the news gathered around the well-informed Feng family member and asked questions. The well-informed Feng family member, a thin, middle-aged man, successfully attracted everyone's attention before saying, You must have all heard of Miss Tianwu, right? Of course. Now, in our Feng family, who doesn't know that Miss Tianwu is the master's only daughter? I've met Miss Tianwu a few times before, but at the time I just thought she was Senior Su's granddaughter. I didn't expect that she was actually Senior Su's only daughter. I'm a low-key person. If it weren't for what happened last time, we probably wouldn't have known Miss Tianwu's identity until the Dynasty Martial Arts competition. A group of Feng family members were discussing the matter. At this time, a silly young man couldn't help but ask curiously, What are you talking about? Also, when did the master have an only daughter? You haven't been out of the house in the past 10 days, right? Suddenly, many members of the Feng family looked at the young man in surprise, as if they had discovered a new world. Hey, I haven't been out for a while. The young man was a little embarrassed. This left the group of Feng family members around speechless. Soon, someone explained to the young man. At this moment, not far from the group of Feng family members gathered together, a pair of young men who looked like a golden boy and a jade girl. Men and women walked slowly by. Tianwu, you are also a celebrity now. The young man in purple smiled slightly. The woman in red next to her frowned. This is the first time I feel that having my identity exposed isn't necessarily a good thing. I preferred it when no one knew my identity before. Your status means you're destined to be in the spotlight. It's just a matter of time. The young man in purple was none other than Duan Lingtian. Along the way, he could hear a lot of discussions about Feng Tianwu. Those discussions mainly revolved around Feng Tianwu's identity. Feng Tianwu's identity was exposed a few days ago. Generally speaking, it was because of the grandson of the third elder of the Feng family. Moreover, since then, the third elder has disappeared. Although, no one can clearly explain why the third elder disappeared. But everyone could guess that the third elder's disappearance was definitely related to his grandson, who was killed by Feng Tianwu. Before the third elder disappeared, someone saw him go to the residence of Master Feng Wudao. However, some people also saw the third elder leaving the mansion. Since then, the third elder has completely disappeared. Perhaps, everyone in the Feng family had some speculation about the disappearance of the third elder, but no one dared to speak out. Although the third elder holds a high position in the Feng family, his direct lineage has been extinct, and no one is willing to offend that untouchable existence for his sake. At the same time, Feng Tianwu was also truly known to everyone in the Feng family. Not only that, now, the news that Feng Wudao, the head of the Feng family, has a new daughter has spread throughout the capital of the Han dynasty. Let's not talk about this anymore. Brother Lingtian, how about we have a sparring match? A captivating smile bloomed on Feng Tianwu's pretty face. I'm fine with it. Duan Lingtian shrugged, then glanced at the bustling martial arts arena and frowned. But isn't this place a bit inappropriate? Then let's go back and spar again. Feng Tianwu said again. Duan Lingtian responded. Immediately afterwards, Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu walked around half of the martial arts arena and prepared to go back. Miss Tianwu. She is Miss Tianwu? At this time, many sharp-eyed members of the Feng family recognized Feng Tianwu. It's really beautiful. It's said that the master back then was considered one of the most handsome men in the Han dynasty. I imagine the woman he married couldn't be a commoner, so it's not surprising that she gave birth to a daughter like this. That's right. More and more members of the Feng family looked at Feng Tianwu.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.